All right, happy Wednesday, everybody. At least we think it's Wednesday. We've lost track of days this week. You got a early holiday weekend. Then I got a college orientation coming up tomorrow and Friday, so we're not going to be here live Thursday and Friday. So you guys, I know, deal with it how you must. Get your family together, gather in a safe place, go to a safe room, whatever you got to do. Now tonight it is a Wednesday. That's overrated, underrated, rated right. We gave you three topics on the website, theraiderland.com. If you want to sign off on that, that's cool. Tonight, Texas Tech baseball and basketball primarily. Tech basketball getting a huge, not just a commit, a signee, TJ, JT Toppin out of New Mexico, and it may have cost $1 million. And then we got baseball to talk about. That I know a lot of you guys have been wanting to do the full autopsy on Tech baseball. So maybe tonight's the night. What do they have to do to be better next year? What are the elements that need to change? What do you want to see? So if you're a Tech baseball fan, this show tonight is for you. You guys jump in right now. Thanks to United Supermarkets, Market Street. Oh yeah, man, you could be out there right now. You could be out there right now. I'm glad you're not. I'm glad you're watching this. But after we're done, head to your local Market Street. Go over there, get some steamed fish. That's right, seasoned and steamed. You take it home. It's easy to cook, and it's great, and the wife will thank for it. Sounds so good this time of year, right? Like a little halibut or whitefish or whatever you're into. That's good. I guess you get some Cajun catfish. Either way, we're in the Arctic Air Studios tonight. If your air is not Arctic this summer, you need to call the bear. Callthebear.com. If you need a job and you got some job skills and you can work in the HVAC industry, they need you. They pay great. They're not a fly by night company, but it's harder and harder, even in West Texas, to find people, great people that are willing to work hard and get paid good money. And if you know somebody, if you're that guy right now tonight, I want you to call up Arctic Air. Call Shane. Call Shane Templin at Arctic Air tomorrow. Callthebear.com website, easy to get to. And if you want a great job, they're here for you, and they take care of their employees. Trust me, I know, truly I do. We're presented by the Reserve, a culinary tavern. You know what's coming up? The weekend. You know what's cool on the weekend? Brunch. You know what they do a great job of? Brunch at the Reserve. 103rd, 107th, 103rd. Hey, Quaker. Yeah, whatever. South Quaker. And of course, South Plains College, the road to Raiderland begins and runs through Levelland for so many people. Look at what they've got this summer. Maybe you can do some continuing education. Maybe you're a high school graduate. You just want to knock out something before you go to school. They got you taken care of out there. Talking to my man, Dane. All the people at South Plains College. All right, let's get it rolling. Let's get you guys on the comments tonight. Want to hear from you. Let's talk Tech baseball. We got a basketball and the Toppin signing. We've got whatever else is on your mind. As long as the comments are good, as long as the interaction is good, we'll hang out here tonight. Whether you are on Twitter, whether you are on Facebook or YouTube or whatever it may be. Thank you, United Supermarket. So let's get it going tonight. Baseball maybe first off. A frustrating year. A year that just never really, the movie Failure to Launch? That was kind of this year for Tech baseball. Failure to launch. You kept thinking at different times in late March, early April, mid-April, late April, all right, they burned the corner. This is going to happen. Never happened. So you end up missing the tournament for the first time since 2015. And even early on, we had a football guy, who I derisively call football guy, because football guy overreacts to baseball. He can't handle the long-term nature of baseball, college or otherwise. Football guy lives in the moment. So football guy early on this year, oh my God, it's going to be awful. Well, every now and then football guy, like a clock that is stopped, is right twice a day. So this was the year football guy was right. Yeah, it didn't happen. Didn't work. I mean, I've seen everything from fire the pitching coach to got to play more small ball, don't spend enough in the portal, not in the portal enough, not getting enough high school players and developing them. I've seen everything. So we ask you tonight, what does Texas Tech need to do to be better next year. I do have my thoughts. I've been around college baseball for a few days, and we've watched it grow and change. And I feel like I have a pretty good idea of where it is right now and what we're watching in the modern era of college baseball and how that's changing almost day to day. I feel like I've got a good idea, but I want to hear what you have to say. So dump your comments in, fire away. Thanks to United Supermarkets and Market Street. They will show up on my feed if everything is working properly. And I think everything is working properly. So the biggest thing that I look at, where Texas Tech baseball is right now and some of the changes is pitching. You gotta, this is a college basketball saying right now, and I think it actually translates more to college baseball than it does basketball. When it comes to college baseball right now, your pitching you need to get old and stay old. Does that mean you don't sign any high-profile high school pitchers? No, maybe one or two here and there. But for the most part, with the transfer portal, with NIL, you've got to take the approach, I believe now, of looking for guys who have proven at the age of 18, 19, and 20 that they can get guys out who are 18, 19, and 20. People misunderstand it all the time when I say college baseball is not a developmental league. I don't have time to develop you in college baseball as a pitcher, as a hitter, or otherwise. When you get to me at the highest level of college baseball, you better be able to play right now. I've got to put you out there right now. You got to play. Now, you might get better. You might get great. But for me to put you in the lineup, for me to put you on the mound, I don't have time to let you figure it out on the field because you're going to get my ass fired. So this is not a developmental area anymore. This is not the day of 3 and 4 and sometimes 5-year players with red shirts back in the day. No, that's not what college baseball is anymore. We can't do that. You can't do that at Texas Tech. You can't do it at LSU. You can't do it at Wake Forest. No. Again, there are some players that you can bring in. A TJ Pompey would be a good example. Yeah, I would bring in a Pompey once a year. I wouldn't bring in more, maybe one, maybe two. I wouldn't bring in more than that because even Pompey went through that mid-April swoon that I've seen a lot of great players do, including one that played in the big leagues for years and years and who I think is going to be a Major League Baseball manager one day, and that's Josh Bard. At the end of his freshman year, Josh Bard couldn't hit me pitching on the mound. He was totally gassed, worn out, and everything else. And now you got guys coming in who played travel ball and everything else in addition to high school, that they are much more fatigued at the age of 18 than anybody was back in the 90s and the early 2000s and mid-2000s. Just a fact. So here we are. Pitching. 1, get old, stay old. Go find guys that have proven they can play and then use your NIL money to money whip them to come to Texas Tech. It's really that simple. Just, you got great facilities for the most part, although we'll have discussion as the year goes on. The stadium, you need a new stadium. Tear it down, blow it up, whatever you got to do. But you got to get older pitching. You got to spend money on that. Now, after that, what do you do? The schedule has to change. They got caught on the schedule this year a little bit with some teams that are usually pretty good that weren't. Stanford is the greatest example of that. 3-4 years ago, you said, we'll do a home and home with you. They came to Lubbock in 21, 22. What was the year? It was after COVID, obviously, and the Super Regional, and they beat you. And you said, hey, we like playing here. We've gone, okay, you do that. Well, then Stanford sucks. So it's not Stanford. It's the vast majority of games you played in Quad 3 and Quad 4 that if you go back and look at the RPI from 18 to 19, the last 2 years you were in the NCAA tournament, went to the College World Series, you had far fewer games in that area. You had many more wins in Quad 1 and Quad 2. So you've got to change the schedule. Well, the problem with changing the schedule is what? Money. You got to pay. Nobody's going to do you a favor. Those SEC teams and all, well, now Arizona's going to be a Big 12 team, so you kind of lost a little bit of that. Although you can play teams you don't play in Big 12 conference play in non-conference, and I hope Tech does that with some of those teams. If Arizona State are on that list and they're halfway decent, do it. But you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to bump up maybe $500,000 to $1 million to buy in teams. Good teams out of good conferences. We go back to 2016, 17, 18, 19. Tim Tadlock did a great job of scheduling teams around the country out of Power 5 conferences, Michigan, Kentucky, Duke, who else am I, Florida State on the fly, all those things. Now it costs more. They're not going to help you out. They're not going to come to Lubbock just to do you a favor because it's a no-win situation for a lot of them. So you're going to have to money whip some lower level teams and get rid of, Texas Southern. You're going to have to get rid of SWAC teams. You're going to have to get rid of New Mexico State, and you're going to have to replace them with teams, and you're going to have to pay money to get them in here. That's the bottom line. It's going to cost you, let's just say, $1 million added to the budget. Are you willing to do that? I don't know. Donald jumping in on the United Supermarkets chat line. Was the dagger to baseball the Arkansas series loss? They weren't right there, obviously. Yeah, maybe. If there was a dagger, I really don't think it was a dagger. I don't think it was so much of one thing because you still come back and you sweep West Virginia. I just think it was mosquito bites and paper cuts that bled this team to death, that they just weren't good enough to overcome much adversity. And they had a lot of adversity. We've gone through the injuries. We've gone through all that. So do I think the Arkansas series just said, you're done? No, I really don't think it didn't help. I really think it was a slow, gradual bleed out with mosquito bites and paper cuts. So we talk about spending money, and we talk about upgrading the schedule, and that's got to happen, in my opinion. Next thing after that is you've got to have clutch guys. And this is where I hate having discussions sometimes on the shows because they're still 18 to 22, 23 years old. But to whom much is given, much is expected, and we have high expectations. So I'm going to go ahead and have the discussion. Last couple of years, you hadn't had a single guy who's owned the team. You hadn't had a clutch guy. You hadn't had anybody that is, if I told you, 3-2 bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, got to get a hit. You've had a couple of guys you'd say, yeah, I'd like up. No, you had anybody take over the team. Same thing on the mound. And I really appreciate what Kyle Robinson did for this team and different guys, but no, you've got to get some tough-minded individuals, competitors. And I have not seen that within the program outside looking in over the last couple of years. And it's a hard thing to do in recruiting, that you sit there and you go, okay, yeah, I'm watching this guy, and I'm watching him in the Cape Cod League. I'm watching him, Kansas and Jayhawk League. I'm watching him in this and that. He seems all right, but he's surrounded, you don't know. The limited recruiting you have, contacts you have, it's really hard to do. So I get that. I cut coaches slack all the time because you can see a player and you think, wow, this guy's going to work out. And then you come in and you go, no, not going to work out. But this team hasn't belonged to anybody since Jace Young, really. Probably Josh. This program hadn't belonged to anybody. But if I can't tell you who the team belongs to, if I can't tell you who owns the team from the dugout, I'm probably going to tell you it's not a very good team, or not a team that's going to do well. there are my thoughts. You guys can jump in with yours, thanks to United Supermarket. And I understand it is early summertime and people are busy and everything else. I'm just so glad you take time to watch, whether it's live, whether you're with us on Twitter, whether you are with us on YouTube or Facebook. You guys can chime in, thanks to United Supermarkets. Fire away your quotes, comments, and anything else you've got. You got to utilize the platform we're using on StreamYard. We appreciate them making it happen. We have beyond that the basketball signing of Toppin, which I think is just one more illustration of hey, McCasland has a plan. God, he reminds me a lot of Joey McGuire. Really does in a good way. That he came in, he had a plan, he understands it. And thank Tim Tadlock for not using up a lot of money on baseball NIL that you can go out and get a guy like Toppin, and I'm going with this until I'm told otherwise. That the NIL money for Toppin was going to be around $1 million. More, less, who knows? Doesn't matter. That you were battling the NBA or wherever else he was going to go. He's at Tech. So I don't want to hear any more about Tech doesn't have money. I don't want to hear any more about Tech can't compete in the NIL era. That this was pretty much the last guy, the best guy out there, and he was commanding a high price, and he's coming to Texas Tech. Now, is he 6'9", is he 6'7"? I don't know. You got people saying, he's not really 6'9", he's 6'7". It sounds like, we would get the list on signing day back in the day of high school football recruits, and then Don Williams would show up there in late August and be like, 6'2", no, 6'1", 6 foot, 195, no, 182. Yeah. So let's say he's 6'7". Crap, he was really good for New Mexico last year, rookie of the year. This guy's a difference maker in the Big 12. I think, seeing what I've seen, and you got to have those guys. Now you go out and get two more like them, and life's going to be good. But I don't want to hear any more about this. We can't compete in the NIL era. We can't do this because Texas Tech is doing it. All right, the Matador Club, they're doing it, and that's how you get a guy like that. And everybody a month ago was freaking out. McCasland didn't have any signees. He didn't have anything. You guys don't understand the timeline anymore of college basketball. It's not, signing day in November. It's not signing day in March. It is now May, April, June, and you'll probably get somebody later on in the year. So chill out just a little bit, and we look at the roster that is being put together now by McCasland. Is it more talented? Is it better than last year's roster at this time? Well, yeah, at this time, yeah. Is it better than last year's roster at the start of the season? It's longer. I think it's more athletic. Have they done a damn thing in the Big 12? Nope. But I like where it's going. CJ is on that United Supermarkets chat line, hanging out with us there on Facebook. I saw it too. Not that the players aren't trying, just don't have a guy that sparks like Young, Jace, Josh, whatever. And it could be Young, it could be anybody. Talking about baseball, the team not belonging to somebody. And that's the way some teams never developed. I watched it doing Lady Raider basketball. I watched it calling Tech baseball over the years. I did baseball, calling games over like 15 different seasons. And you kind of pick up on a few things. You're a difference maker, Hyatt. No, I'm not. Unless I can get in there to the air fryer in my kitchen here in a few minutes. And I've got I want to make a po' boy, shrimp, fried shrimp. Yeah. Dallas side just, there's still plenty of talent when the last call comes around. There is. And that's going to be the way it is going forward. You've got to look at it like a free agent type deal. In pro sports, which college is now pro sports. Dallas, I just wonder how long rich guys are going to want to fund NILs of college sports. Dallas, they're going to fund it. the same way they funded it before. They used to have money to the Red Raider Club or the Longhorn Foundation or whatever it was, or whatever. Now they just fund it directly. Well, they're going to pay like hell as long as they want to win. 100%. Now, we're going to see a collectively bargain agreement as athletes become employees of the school. So it's going to change, it's going to flip back to the old Red Raider Club deal. That's going to be interesting too, because with CBAs and everything else, like in the NFL, you just can't have a slush fund to pay free agents to come to Kansas City that isn't regulated. It's got to be a legit advertising deal. It really does. I know that sounds crazy, but it really does. Look at the Las Vegas Aces in the WNBA. There's a deal going through with them and the NBA on the Las Vegas Tourism Bureau, telling every player that plays there, hey, we're going to give you whatever it is, $50,000 or whatever. Well, that violates the CBA. So, sorry, Dallas, long answer to a really simple, short question. Yeah, as long as there are rich guys who want their college to win, hell yeah, they're going to fund the money. Of course they're going to fund the money. Joseph, I think we should go full blown on the transfer portal. We aren't the richest, but we are damn sure richer than a lot of teams that beat us that goes for all sports. You know, look at, if you're talking baseball, Cash, Zell, look, Molina, when he came in, you developed him and he pitched better at Tech than at Arkansas this year. Tim Tadlock hadn't been afraid to go to the portal. You know, he hadn't been afraid to do it. It's all right. Bruce, do you think it would benefit Tech baseball if they recruit kids from like Travis, Austin, Westlake, or larger schools like that? Kids that have been in high leverage situations twice a week. We seem to recruit 2A3 kids a lot. I disagree with that. I think Tech baseball has kids from the highest levels, players of the highest levels of baseball. And really, where you play high school baseball now doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's where you play your travel. It's where you play summer. It's where you play, you know, whatever you want to call that. High school baseball in Texas will be dead in about 10 years at the highest level. The best players will not play high school baseball because of the restrictions and everything else. So, no, I'll reject that and say, for the most part, I've seen Texas Tech go after great baseball players regardless of where they are. That's like saying Tim Tadlock. That's like saying Wes Kitley should recruit small school athletes in track, even though he knows they can play. I don't think it's a high leverage situation. High leverage in high school baseball, I'm just going to say it, doesn't matter anymore. Sorry for all my high school baseball guys and friends. Doesn't matter anymore. Sorry you're late. I'm sorry you're late too, Craig. What the hell's wrong with you? Who would have ever thought the transfer games get paid more than the college dean? Yeah. Well, they probably, you know, do better and probably bring more into the school than the college dean. Don't worry, though. Here in about 10 years, college sports will be totally separate from the university. They'll be employees, and colleges will sponsor teams to play under their banner. And the kids, the people playing for them, they won't even go to school. They'll have a made-up major or something. They won't even go to school. And they'll do that because they can make a crap ton of money, and that's all they care about. And, I mean, even now, and I don't know how old you. I was at Texas Tech from 88 to 92. The so-called college experience that kids have today compared to me, we went to two vastly different schools separated by a universe apart. I don't even try to pretend that these kids are going to my university or even the university that most of the students are going to. But if it helps you feel better about it, then go with it. Craig is mowing his jungle. Manscaping is important, and we recommend it for everybody out there, Craig. Gord, Garrod, what are we doing here? Come on, Dallas, settle down. few more minutes, 5 more minutes. Tech baseball in the discussion, basketball, the topping. Gotta say it right. I keep wanting to say topping. The Toppin signing should hopefully alleviate some fears for Texas Tech basketball fans that McCaslin doesn't know what he's doing, or something. I don't know why you would think that, but people be panicking and go, "Oh, we don't have a full team right now." See if the kid can play. Seems like he can play. Brought to you by Boot City. One money saving outside the Mile West Loop. Boots on sale. I think still Boot City has their long sleeve Western shirts on sale. It's going to get cold again. Go get some. Be glad you did. Craig, heard that Christmas lights are finally coming down, or did I misread that? Oh yeah, I was gonna. I think I think I put that on the column today. Thank you guys for reading everything we do at theraiderling.com. We'll have our column in the morning for you. I no guarantees on Friday. Going to West Texas State for a new student orientation tomorrow and Friday, so we're going to be a little jacked up on our schedule. Yeah, that's right, Craig. So I think I mentioned that I would tell the story about how, as the weather came through last night in our neck of the woods, we have over the last year or two, we just leave the Christmas lights up around the house. We don't keep them on all year, but why take them down? We're out in the middle of nowhere for the most part. Nobody's going to say anything. Yeah, the wind, the hail, everything hit, and we had a cascade of broken glass shards and a nice ring around the house there, Greg. So whether it's a shop vac or whatever it is, that we're going to figure out how to get that, taken care of. And I've been thinking, maybe we'd do something different with the lights, but I was hoping it wouldn't be that way. The nearest mesonet site around our house last night had a gust of 59 miles an hour at about 2:45. Yeah. Tahoka had one, 95. We had hell last night. Could have been worse. Levelland definitely got worse. So, yeah, we it seemed like a good idea. Leave the lights up. What could happen? We know. Could have been worse. Now, Big 12 basketball going to be better this than last. I don't know. We'll see. Oklahoma really wasn't doing much for you. Texas obviously was good. You don't lose much. You got the teams coming in with Arizona. So I would say Arizona's an upgrade over both Texas and Oklahoma. Yeah, you're better. And I'm probably one of the, not few, but I mean, I'm fired up about Arizona coming into the Big 12 basketball. They'll get there on football probably. Arizona State, I ain't got nothing against Arizona State. Ain't done nothing to me. One of my favorite wins was against Arizona State in the Cal Fullerton Regional when Tech beat them on a wild pitch there in 2001. But I do think that your upgrade and everything, other than losing a Texas football team that last year was good, that really hadn't done much over the last 10 years, and an Oklahoma team that had been good for the last however many years and really good, that's the biggest loss. So, last chance, comments, thoughts, quotes, basketball, baseball. Bill Walton, the mellifluous metaphors that he could weave around basketball. I used to do a good Walton. I can't do it anymore. I've done it so long. You can do a good Bill Walton impersonation. We're worse off without him from a sports broadcasting standpoint. Made it fun, made it interesting. We don't have anybody out there really anymore who's willing to be different, who's willing to not be a cookie cutter announcer, who's not willing to sound like they come from somewhere or belong to somebody or just, have a brain. God, Sports announcing today, so bad. Please, if you're young and you're listening to me right now, be your own self, be creative, have fun. Don't sound like anybody else, you know? All right, that's going to do it. We appreciate everybody jumping in tonight. We're going to put this on the website, theraiderland.com. Hope you will share it, put it on Twitter. It's already there. Hope you will share it, Facebook, and everything else. Oh, yeah, I got to hit this little button here. We hit the button. I hit the button. Are we done yet? Not done. No, it says in the stream. We're not done. Hold on. Got to smile again.